Okay, so last time we learned about how to make it so you can have your character, your tank like this. Then when pressing space, you can have it shoot. So this time we're going to learn how to make it so you can have it as a 2-player game. Which means we're pretty much going to have 2 tanks. If you don't want to learn how to make it a 2-player game and you want to make it a single-player game, then I suggest going on to the video you can see at the top of your screen now. Okay, so if you're still here, you're probably going to want to learn about the 2-player game. So the first thing we're going to do is just duplicate this. Duplicate this and then duplicate the bullet. So we're going to go to the costume of tank 2, which is the new tank that we just made. We're just going to click on it and you can change it to any new color. I'll change this to pink. There we go. The bullets, we can keep them as that color. But the thing is though, is that they're going to move in sync now. So we have to change these to different buttons. So W will now be up arrow. D will now be, wait, let me just check. Right arrow. S will be down arrow. And then A will be left arrow. So now we can have it so it turns at different times with the arrow keys and like that. But this one does not shoot because this bullet is just going to this tank, which means it's going in sync as this bullet here. We can see that if we change this to, let's say, just say we change it to 15 steps, you can see that it's shooting 2. But we don't want it to shoot 2. We want it to go to tank 2. So we'll change this back to 10. Well, you probably didn't change it, but maybe you did. So we're going to change this instead of being tank 1 to tank 2. Then we'll switch it back to direction because whenever you change this, it automatically changes this for some reason. So we'll just change it back to tank 2 after I demonstrated that direction, and then we're going to make it so it goes to tank 2. But we don't want to make it so whenever space is pressed, they both shoot at the same time. That would be kind of dumb. So we're going to change space to pretty much any single one you ever want. I'm going to change it to L, wherever that is. There, so now when L is pressed, it'll shoot. When space is pressed, this guy will shoot. But right now, like these two just shooting at each other, like what's the point of that? Okay, so now that we've done the moving parts of it, and we have 2 tanks that can move, we're now going to work on the health part of it. So we're going to make a couple variables. So I already have one. So purple tank health. But now we're going to make another one. So health pink tank. That's what we're going to call it. And we're also going to make it so you can see them. You can move these to wherever you want. I'm just going to put them right there so they'll be easy to see. Variables are probably one of the most useful things you'll ever need. That's not like basic stuff like when this flag's clicked and forever blocks. This is very useful stuff. So when it's clicked, we want to set health pink tank to, let's just say to 100. This is going to be the amount of health that they're going to start off with. And then we'll switch it to purple. And then we'll set this also to 100. So now when we click it, it's going to set them both to 100. But now we have to make something so it scores it. So let's take another one clicked. We'll take a forever. Then we can take an if then. So if then we're touching, so this is for the purple tank, so it's going to be sensing the bullet 2. That's what it's going to take damage to. So if touching bullet 2, then we can change. So this is good. We're going to want to switch it to purple tank by -5. Okay? So I'm such an idiot. Okay, so yeah, so we can see that it's changing it, but it's not changing it by 5. And that's because once it touches this, once this code's done, it's just looping the forever block over and over again. Which is why we should put in a wait 1 second thing. We don't have to do 1 second, we can even do like 0.2. And it looked like at the start it moved by more than 1, so we can just switch it to 0.3. And if we're spamming it, it should do it at every single bullet shot. Okay. We can just copy this, put it right here, change bullet 2 to bullet 1. Let me find it. There we go. And then change this to health pink tank. Okay. So now we need to make it so when the health gets to 0, then the game's going to end. So we can do that pretty easily by just using an if then. And instead of, so we're going to need to go to the operators. This is the first time we're going to use operators, but they're very useful too, especially with variables. Because we can add stuff, multiply stuff, pick a random number, over, under, it equals, and, or not. These stuff, that's complicated. This is mostly for like lists, which you can like make lists and stuff. But we're just going to be using the over under. Okay, so the over under is going to make it so if the health is underneath a certain amount, so if health pink tank, instead of putting it to 0, we're actually going to put it to 1. Because if we put it to 0, until the number goes underneath 0, it won't be activated. But if we do it to 1, when it gets to 0, it'll also activate. So if health pink tank equals 1, you can either get fancy, you can either do a normal thing and just do a stop all, so it'll just end the game. But we're going to make it a bit more complicated since this is our third project. And we'll make some text. So we can do something like pink wins, and then do that. Then we can make another costume and make it so we can just duplicate this, make it so we change it to purple wins. And I just realized I didn't do that in capitals. Purple wins. Then we do capitals. And then an exclamation point. There we go. And I'm actually going to take, where did I put the code? I'll copy this. I'm going to put it right here because I want the code to be on this one because this is the one that's going to control it. So we'll place a when clicked forever. If then I want it to show then switch to costume 2 because costume 2 is the one that's saying purple tank wins. Then we can just copy this, change this variable to health purple tank, change the costume to costume 1, it'll still show it, and then boom. We can also just do a stop all. There we go. And when clicked, we'll make it so it hides. So when it's clicked, it hides. Then I'll demonstrate. You can see that it's going down the top right. Should probably actually switch that around. That would look way better. Then pink tank wins, and then it stops it all. So there. There's actually one more thing that we can do, which is something that'll make it so it goes to a certain spot. So we just take a motion, and then when clicked, it'll go there. For this tank, we can do a when clicked, go there. So then when it's clicked, even if he's over here, it's still good to go over there. So that's the first part of the tank thing. If you guys want to learn more about it, then you guys can always just watch the next video, which I'll be showing how to do power-ups, stuff like that. So bye. Make sure you guys check out my profile. It's Bob1459, and I made this really sick game that you can play. You can choose the amount of rounds, amount of health, and then fight people. You can even change your skin and do totally sick powers. So bye.